is Sky Sports.
Today on American Sports Cavalcade, top alcohol dragster race, Chuck Barrett has a couple of problems. He is qualified number 3, but that's the least of his worries. Number 2, Blaine Johnson, is mired in one of his longest cold spells in recent memory and is overdue for a win. Then there's Tom Conway, the number 1 qualifier. He always does well when he takes the top ladder position. Is Chuck in over his lucky cap? We'll find out. Welcome, everyone, to Memphis, Tennessee and Memphis Motorsports Park for American Sports Cavalcade coverage of the Goodys Sports Nationals, presented by TNN. Here in the staging lanes, just before the next round of competition, you were looking at the beautiful alcohol dragster of Chuck Barrett. He qualified with an incredible 584, but he's not number 1. Tom Conway is at a 582. And I've been checking here. Conway, whenever he qualifies number 1, he's on TV, he always wins.
Well, Tom's an extremely good racer. I mean, there's nobody any better than Tom Conway to me.
All right, I got another one for you. Blaine Johnson has never gone 6 races without winning. This is number 6.
Me and Tom are both here.
And one of you can take care of Johnson somewhere along the road?
We're going to do our best. That's all we can do is do our best.
All right, we wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, for the alcohol funny car slant, here's Brock Yates.
Steve, I'm with Randy Anderson, of course, a member of the famous Anderson racing family from Southern California, who came in here, qualified number 1 in top alcohol funny car, the only man to get into the 5s. Doing very well so far, Randy, but I'm sure you remember last year when he got bit in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I do. You don't forget things like that. I'm going to come out here today, drive real hard, real aggressive, and make sure that doesn't happen again.
And I'm sure you're going to have to play this racetrack like a violin. It can come back and trick you all the time because of the changing conditions.
That's very true. The 596 was not in the heat, as we know. And to run a 5 out in the heat is going to be very impressive, and I'm not so sure we want to even try that.
Nice and conservative and nice and steady on the start line.
That's right. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Randy Anderson. And now, Steve, let's go to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, a new member, former world funny car champion and driving school impresario, Frank Hawley.
Thanks, Brock. It's great to be here. The 3rd class we'll be seeing today is Competition Eliminator. And for years, the dominant name in Competition Eliminator was David Nickens. But to say that David had been struggling earlier this year would be an understatement. It seems lately David and his team have found a way to win a few rounds. David?
Well, I tell you, Frank, that's true. I don't know why we didn't win earlier in the year. It seems like everything we went to the starting line, something happened, and we've been fortunate to put a pretty good package together here lately, and we've won a few rounds. We're just right out of the lead for the championship, and hopefully if we can win this race, it'll be good for us. We'll take over the lead.
Good luck. Now let's go back to Steve.
Okay, Frank, we are ready for round 2 top alcohol dragster competition. Round 1 was accomplished yesterday under really much different weather conditions. The sun was beating down on the racetrack. We didn't have that cloud cover you see there. The humidity was a bit lower, so it's a brand new ball game, Brock, for these guys.
No question, and this racetrack, as I mentioned to Randy Anderson, is tricky at best. The lanes change, the conditions change, and of course the weather changes, he just said, almost by the hour.
These are supercharged engines. Some are Hemis, some are not. There's even an injected car or 2 in the field running nitro. It's an interesting class because of that diversity of equipment. And featured in this race is Jay Payne. Now, Jay is the only repeat winner on the national event trail so far in this category. Hails from Upland, California, and takes this real seriously. To him, it ain't sportsman racing. Denny Hummel out of Clinton Township, Michigan, has got to rank as an underdog here. He qualified 12th at a 608. Beat Darrell Hitchman in the 1st round, but it was Jay Payne who qualified number 4 at a great 587, and he put away Randy Smith in round number 1. As always, in any kind of drag race, no matter the power plant, the wheelbase, the weight of the cubic inches, reaction times are critical.
No question about that, and Jay Payne is very good on the lights. He is a veteran of this kind of competition, but not this time. Hummel drills him on the line, a 4:13 reaction time. Will it be enough? No. Jay Payne, 594, drives around him at 234 miles an hour. Right now, let's go down to Frank Hawley on the starting line with a winning crew chief.
Look good, consistent 590s. Will it take 590s to win?
Yeah, I think so. The track's a little marginal right now. We tried to step it up just a little bit, but it spun the tire, and so we got to try and not beat ourselves here. Thank you.
Frank, you will learn that crew chiefs do indeed end the interview, not you. All right, now watch the Payne car in the near lane. See that wheelie bar hanging off the back of the car? That's what kept that wheel stand manageable. He never had to lift to set it down. It couldn't go any higher, and gravity just finally pulled it back down to the racetrack. In the near lane, it was Jay Payne all the way, even though he had to recover from a hole shot. Engine problems, I'm sure, in the other lane also gave him a bit of a break. So Jay Payne advances into the Final Four.
All right, here's the man Steve talked to earlier. That is Chuck Baird. He's going up against Greg Morrison. This is Top Alcohol Dragster competition, round 2. Baird has lane choice, and he is a strong runner, Steve. No question.
Oh, absolutely. In round number 1 yesterday, he clicked off a 593. But also in round number 1 yesterday, it was Greg Morrison from Mississippi up against 20-year-old Tiffany Hyland from the Great Northwest. And this was a round of racing that Tiffany will not soon forget, nor will any of us that saw it. Tiffany in the Pyro car in the near lane. All was well at the start, but suddenly her engine blew, putting oil under the tires, and this is what resulted. Brock was there to make sure everything was okay.
Yeah, I am okay. I just have a little cut on my thumb, and my spirits are definitely down. I'm really upset about the car, I think, more than I am myself.
You did a great job trying to save it. We watched you, but it just couldn't gather it all up.
No, and I guess it's unfortunate. It's my first engine blown, so I didn't know that it blew, but I guess now I will know what it feels like to blow an engine and maybe be a little more prepared next time.
What did it do? Just take a sharp right on you?
Well, really, the power just died on it, and I didn't really know what was going on because I was looking at the tach, and it started going back up, so I thought maybe something had just gone wrong, and I wanted to stay in it. And then before I really knew what was going on, it was going sideways, and I thought I could catch it. Like in Atlanta, I had a near miss, and it just wouldn't go, and it just hit the wall, and from there, I don't remember really.
Well, most of all, you're okay. We can fix that thing.
Yeah, we can.
They won't save a whole lot off of that car. Okay, it's Lucky Hat Man, Chuck Baird from Assumption, Illinois. That would have to be a lucky hat to wear it, Brock.
Yeah, exactly. No other reason to wear a hat like that. All right, Baird versus Morrison. And it's Baird, beautiful. A 417. Morrison way late at a 653. Never in it as Chuck Baird moves on with a 594. 232 miles an hour right in the hunt, Steve.
Now here is how to not cut a reaction time. Watch the car in the far lane. Just sits there. For some unknown reason, the old drag racing axiom is still true. He who snoozes, loses. But a 6:20 elapsed time wouldn't have put him in the hunt anyway. And there is numero uno on the qualifying list, former Winston champion Tom Conway. The big Hemi cackling here. His opponent, Jay Meyer, has already made his burnout. Apparently Conway wanted a little more heat in his engine. While they're burning out, let's check in with Brock Yates at the far end.
Well, Chuck, you got by another one, but you don't sound too happy.
Well, you know, we'd like to see we're going to be able to run a lot faster than this because we know the car can, but the track and the weather's just not going to let us, it don't look like. But we'll go back and pull another rabbit out of the hat maybe and see if we can step on a little more. So,
okay.
Thank goodness.
Go get him.
Thank you.
Okay, what a good guy. Having an awful lot of fun. Qualified number 3. Jay Meyer, well, he's out of Texas, and he's really got his hands full. He knows that. This is an all-southwestern affair, as both of the cars from that region of the country. Jay Meyer out of Freeport, Texas, doesn't have nearly the experience of the man in the opposite lane out of Seminole, Oklahoma, Tom Conway. Conway, a very serious guy, doesn't have a lot to say. He lets his race car do his talking for him and his wife, Linda.
Yeah, and he builds an awful lot of pieces for various alcohol dragsters. In fact, I would imagine probably Meyer's got some bits and pieces out of Conway's shop on his dragster.
Absolutely. Burnout's completed. They are pre-staged. Need a driver in any big hurry. With the alcohol fuel, very hard to overheat one of these engines. Oh, and over in the far lane, that was Meyer. He red-lighted by 0.4 of a second. I guess he felt he was just kind of hopelessly outpowered and tried to gamble on the whole shot. Didn't get it. Conway, a 586 at 235 miles an hour. Meyer wasted away a 607 at 224. Frank Hawley?
There's a lot of 590 cars out there. Do you think you guys will be able to keep up that 580 pace?
Well, I think you probably will be. Was trying to not step on it too much, but afraid of tire shake, but I think we did all right that time.
That one looked pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, that is a big problem with these cars. It's car shake, really. If they go out there and rattle those tires, the tires aren't completely round, the whole car shakes and you lose traction. That didn't happen on this particular run to Conway. He had a nice, safe pass.
Well, Tom, an 86. How's that sound?
Sounds pretty good today. It's kind of humid, but the track seems a little bit better than it has been.
It's going to hold, you think it'll hold some more?
I don't know. We'll just have to watch it round by round.
It's cooling off a little bit. It seems like it maybe is getting a little bit better. Wind's dying down. Maybe you can fatten it up a little bit on the next pass?
Oh, I like this weather here. I really like it.
This is Oklahoma weather.
It sure is. This is winning weather here.
Okay, go get him.
Thank you.
Good luck.
There's a new phrase from a racer I don't think I've heard before. Winning weather. We'll just have to see if he predicts that accurately. All right, now we've got Blaine Johnson, that big famous Oldsmobile in the near lane, up against Gene Bowl. Now Johnson, because he does not run the Hemi engine like most of them, it's a canted head, a pushrod motor, he can run more cubic inches. So that Olds is like way up there, 500 and some odd inches. A lot of the Hemis like this one here are down in the 450 cubic inch range. It depends on the weight of the car. It's all weight to cubic inches. Gene Bowl of Baytown, Texas, well knows. He's got his lucky hat on there. All right, Blaine Johnson from San Maria, California on the Central Coast, as we said earlier, has never gone 6 races without a victory since he and his brother Alan started running this car. And this is the 6th race, Brock.
Sure is, and Johnson is very determined. Not a whole lot of smiling going on in the Johnson pit area this day, and he has come in here with a resolve that I haven't seen for a while.
That's right, he uses that great big Whipple supercharger that NHRA has restricted the boost on, but it doesn't seem to be holding him back here at all. Oh yeah, this will make him grin. A good reaction time and a gorgeous 582. Take that. 238 miles an hour. Bowl at a 610 really wasn't in the hunt at 225 miles an hour. Here again is Frank.
That was a stellar performance. You going to try and step it up more or just leave it alone for the semis?
I'll take a look and see how it is. And we made a change for that run, and it looks like it stepped it right up. So we'll see how it looks. If it's safe, we'll probably maybe step it up a little more.
Okay, good run.
Thanks.
Some have called that man, Alan Johnson, a cylinder head genius, and not just in drag racing. He's capable of building cylinder heads for any form of motorsports. All right, the final 4, we'll see Blaine Johnson against Chuck Baird. That'll be a beauty. Johnson with that 82 will indeed have the lane choice. And Tom Conway has the lane choice over Jay Payne. I'll tell you, the hitters are getting together in the final 4. All right, here's Brock.
Well, Blaine at 82, that's got to make you a little happier.
Oh, yeah, that's a real good run out here today. Tom ran 86, and he was low before us. And that 82 is going to look real good next round. I just hope the weather holds up and we get keep on running here.
You'd like to stay just about like this, I would imagine.
Perfect, you know. With the heat out here, if the sun was out, it would be real slimy up there on the starting line. It would be tough to get down, but 82 is a real good run.
Blaine, you've, as I understand it, over the years, you've never gone more than about 6 or 7 races without a win in this class. This is number 6. You think you can do it today?
Yeah, that's our plan. We're going for the throat this week, and we got to win 5 in a row to go for the World Championship, and we're not holding anything back this weekend.
And the weather's right, and you're feeling good. I don't see any oil, so everything's pretty proper right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling real good today.
Okay.
Yeah, real good. Thanks.
To action, and we recognize that race car.
Absolutely. That is Pat Austin, the green and white Castro car. And his opponent backing up there is a tough customer out of the Midwest, Al DePozo. Pat Austin is the fastest human being in the history of drag racing in his other car. His other car is a top-fuel dragster, 303 miles an hour. And he also has one of the biggest speeds ever posted in an alcohol funny car. From Northbrook, Illinois, Al DePozo took a couple of years off, but has come back with a vengeance in that Wolverine car. Pat Austin, only Bob Glidden in all of NHRA drag racing has won more NHRA national events. And Pat is catching up quickly, home based in Tacoma, Washington.
I'll tell you what, don't try to pick a winner based on their qualifying times. DePozo in here, number 5 at a 6:06.3. Austin, number 4 at a 6:06.2. So that is what you call dead even, Steve.
You'll notice a huge difference in the superchargers on these cars. We just noticed that the fuel injector just barely sticking out of the body right there on the Al DePozo car. Well, the next time you see Pat Austin's machine, take a look at what protrudes out of the hood there. Camera pans to the right, and there it is. one of those giant Whipple charges we were telling you about before. It's a screw-type supercharger. The rotors don't touch versus a conventional kind of roots blower on DePozo's car. Whoa, and DePozo has control problems right at the start. Probably some moisture under one tire. That's certainly what it looked like. And Thad Austin, not a stellar effort for that camp. 6:26 at 231 miles an hour. Not a bad speed, but somewhere a lot of elapsed time evaporated. That will not make them smile. Let's have one more look at this, particularly, of course, watching that car of Al DePozo. Might have been a little oil, certainly not water. They don't have any on board. Right here. Hard to say. Something certainly caused one tire to get more grip than the other, and he was very fortunate to not take our robot camera out.
Well, Pat, at 26, wasn't pretty off the line, but it worked anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't a near perfect run, that's for sure. But you know, to get the Castro car in the next round, that's all right. You know, that's all we're shooting for. But we are going to have to tune it up. Hopefully that, I mean, that's probably going to lose lane choice, which seems to be pretty crucial here. So we'll just have to play the cards that are dealt to us.
What about the lanes? You know, we've had a lot of oil down over the week, but it's cooled off, and it looks like maybe the conditions weather-wise are at least improved.
Well, I think that's improving drastically. The traction hasn't been a big a problem for us as the bumps have been. There seems to be a couple bumps where they unload these alcohol cars at the shift points, and that's hard to deal with. You just have to do the best job you can, and hopefully the cars fall your way.
Well, you guys are working real hard inside these cars so that you isn't hanging on and driving like it would be in a top fuel car. You got a lot of work to do. You're saying right about the time you're trying to shift, you're bouncing.
Right when you're trying to listen to the motor so you can figure out when to shift, and all of a sudden it comes off the ground, and it's like being at a rock concert. You know, you really don't know what's going on.
Well, good luck in the next round.
Thanks.
I've never known what was going on at a rock concert. They are the busiest men in all of drag racing, the drivers in these alcohol-funny cars. And I've said it before, and I think Pat just underscored it. They are the hardest cars, I think, in the sport to drive, period.
All right, here comes your #1 qualifier, Randy Anderson, going up against Gary Ratelle. This, again, of course, is top alcohol-funny car, round 2 action. Ratelle qualified #9 at a 6:13. Anderson in here at a 5:96. The only man into the 5s here.
Gary Ratelle, Antioch, Tennessee. He and his brother Steve run this car, and he's thinking hole shot right now. That might be his only chance against Randy Anderson from Ontario, California, past U.S. Nationals winner, that giant fuel injector on top of yet another one of these screw-type superchargers. NHRA tries to balance the rules where they don't particularly have an advantage. One thing the racers say is that they're far more reliable and more consistent and don't have to be worked on so much. As soon as they're pre-staged, both drivers will bring the RPMs way up, then they'll inch forward and the starter will let them go. Ratelle leads too soon. Ratelle trying for the hole shot, no cigar. And you know what? Anderson dodged a bullet there. Had Ratelle not red lighted, his 617 would have easily defeated the Anderson 675. Let's see if Frank knows what's happening.
He won another round, but looked like there were some problems down there.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't want it. Looked like he didn't move, like he'd left in second or something. But I'm sure he didn't, because there was all clutch dust. You'd seen it just looked like a fuel car on a bad track.
Well, maybe he'll get it set up for next round.
We'll be ready. We'll be ready.
All right, have one more look. If you were Gary Ratelle and you were up against Randy Anderson, you would probably have the same battle plan. The left side of your screen, clearly, right there, a red light. In fact, he left, about almost 2/10 of a second too soon. Randy Anderson, he waited for his green. Alcohol funny car competition continuing. The racing today, quite honestly, hasn't been as close as it usually is. We've seen a few red lights and a few drivers having some problems. I have a feeling by the time we get down to the final 4, that'll all change. There's one of the prettiest of the cars, Mike Rieger. He'll be up against Jeff Rapp as soon as they back up from their burnouts. Right now, let's go to Brock Yates with Randy Anderson.
Well, Randy, there was obviously trouble on that pass. What was it?
Yeah, well, the car left real well, and it felt real good. Never shook the tire, and I went to put it in second gear, and there was nothing. So I immediately tried to poke it in high, and again, nothing. So I looked up and saw the wind light on my scoreboard, and obviously he red lit, and I just shut it off, and hopefully we can fix everything, and we'll be back.
You think it's in the linkage or in the transmission itself?
No, it's definitely in the tranny, and you know, maybe that's the break I need. You know, that's usually how it happens. You know, maybe it's my day.
Could never tell. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
You and Dad get it fixed.
Thank you.
These cars use 2 Lenco-style transmissions to offer them a 3-speed ride. So maybe that middle transmission is the problem. Well, there's Mike Rieger, Tom Akers' Wizard. Well, it's a car that's won a lot of races over the course of the years with a number of different drivers, including Tom himself at one point in time. But he is up against Jeff Rapp over on the far side of the racetrack, and this is one brilliant driver, Brock.
He is really good, and he's got an excellent car. Rapp from the East Coast, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, driving for a Texas team. He's a hired gun, and he's a good one. He qualified number 3 at a 6:04. Mike Rieger out of Fruta Colorado, he qualified number 6 at a 6:07. Not that far off the pace.
Nope, but the last race we attended and covered the alcohol cars, it was Jeff Rapp in the winner's circle in that Carter car when it was all said and done. So let's watch this one. They both have the clutch in, just like you would in a standard transmission car. They bring up those RPMs to whatever their ear tells them is right. Then holding the brake as hard as they can, they inch the car in, and they're gone. But gone first is Jeff Rapp. Rieger was late, and it killed him. Rapp wins at a 6:13 over a 6:08. Boy, does a driver hate that. That really wounds their egos to get left on that bad. All right, let's go to Frank with Mark Lira, the crew chief of that winning car.
Looks like your driver did a pretty good job on the starting line.
Yeah, he did. He did a good job on it, man. We had the bad lane, and we missed lane choice from last week or yesterday, and yeah, he did a good job.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, Jeff Rapp got an okay reaction time, middle of the road really, of .465. But it was Rieger in the near lane who was really quite late at a 5.22. Right now, Rieger is thinking, boy, I hope the wizard on the side of this car can pull one out of his bag of tricks, because I know I'm behind, I know I'm late, every driver does. But it is Rapp staying out in front, and when they get to the finish line, you will see what 1/1000th of a second looks like for a winning margin. Rapp almost put the parachute out too soon. Ooh, that was a little scary. So there you see it, Rieger with a 6:08 loses to a 6:13. He just wasn't on his game off the starting line. It's all reflexes.
Well, Jeff, they say hole shots is the key to this sport, and you just proved it.
Well, we were lucky, you know. We didn't want to take them for granted, and I knew that they were running pretty fast, and we're having a little bit of trouble here, so, you know, had to be ready to go, that's all.
You said, I think you said that you had some shake on the way down?
Yeah, car started to shake the tires early, and I short-shifted second gears. That probably affected our ET quite a bit.
Right.
But, you know, I'm sure Steve will get it out for the next run, and we'll go faster.
Conditions are starting to settle down here. It looks like it should be pretty good for the next round.
Yeah, the cloud cover's helped a lot from the last couple of days where it's been beating on the track all day. So hopefully it'll stay like this, and we'll be able to go back and find a little bit.
And run it all the way through all the gears.
You got it.
Okay, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's a lot of thinking to have to do in 6.139 seconds. All right, next up, ooh, a good pair of cars. Terry Mullins versus Danny Pickett. Mullins in the near lane, that is Danny Pickett right there. With the escape hatch open, there's no problem there. You just need to escape. You just like to get a little air in there, maybe get some of the clutch dust and tire smoke out of the car. And he's going to have a very alert brain, because his 629 has lost lane choice to Mullins at 615. So Danny Pickett out of Kansas City will have to really quicken things up off the starting line. Terry Mullins from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the home of the atomic bomb.
Well, let's hope there are no explosions inside that engine. As a matter of fact, these engines really are much more reliable and much less inclined to do that than their funny car counterparts, even though the race cars and a lot of the technology is similar.
Absolutely, but they do build tremendous cylinder pressure, and that can be hard on the bearings, crankshafts, and connecting rods. You'll see some oil out of these things, and occasionally a fire. Ooh, good race. And it is Terry Mullins at 6:07, 230 miles an hour. Pickett was in it for the first half track, actually. 6:38, only 218 miles an hour. Frank Holly is with crew chief Howard Moon.
07, you guys happy with that?
Yeah, we've been struggling all weekend. Look pretty good right there. We'll take it.
You going to make a change for the semis?
We may soften a little bit, see what if it rains or weather looks good. We'll see you later.
Frank, sometimes you got to chase them into the van, you know? You can't give up that easily. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. We understand the situation. All right, Terry Mullins will race Jeff Rapp in the Final Four. Terry will have the lane choice, which nobody seems to think is a big factor at this point. But, of course, that could change. In the other Final Four pairing, it's Pat Austin with lane choice over Randy Anderson, who's fixing his transmission. Okay, let's go to Brian.
07. How's that sounding?
That's the best run we've made all weekend. We were hoping just to be conservative, just to get the thing down the track and not make any mistakes, do everything right. Turned out to be the best run of the weekend. Maybe track conditions are saying soften them up a little bit and get them down.
Well, sometimes, you know, everybody tends to get a little bit eager in this sport, and oftentimes you get in a lot of trouble. That sometimes that laying back and running nice and conservative works for you.
Well, you know, first rounds are always tough because you're getting geared up for first round is the toughest thing of the day, and you can't win the race if you don't win first round. So we've been shaking all weekend, and I put it into second gear this time, and I just said, hey, no shake. I knew we were going. I knew it was going to run good.
Good job. Well, we're onward and upward.
Thank you.
Okay, Terry.
All right, Terry Mullins, a defense contractor for a living. Sounds like he's going on the offense in the Final Four. And so will this man in top alcohol dragster. Blaine Johnson gets ready to face off with Chuck Barrett. That could be the best race of the day in the category. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back.
Sports Nationals, Tom Conway, as a matter of fact, a major player in this kind of competition, going against Jay Payne, Steve Evans. And these guys, well, they've raced each other a whole lot, and I don't think anybody's going to pull any tricks on either one of them.
And we may look back at this pairing at the end of the season and say that's where Tom Conway or Jay Payne won the Winston World Championship, because they are both legitimate contenders. You heard Blaine Johnson say earlier that's one reason he's really putting the screws to it here. He figures he's got to win about 5 races in a row to defend the #1 he currently holds. So there is Conway out of Oklahoma. He looks over to see where Payne is. They want to pre-stage as close together as they can. You don't see any games in the starting line here because of the fact they have to bring the RPMs up together and pretty much stage together, just the way the cars are built and raced. It is Conway from behind. The electronic finish line judge told us that. We couldn't tell looking at the picture you looked at. Conway wins it at 591 to Payne's 594. Here's Frank.
You got to be happy to be in the final. You're going to have to step it up a little bit.
Yes, we're gonna step on it just some. 91 was a little bit slow, but we spun the tires a little off the line. So now
you spun the tires this round, you mean?
Just a little. Okay. Now it's time to step on it.
Okay.
One round at a time.
She doesn't miss much, does she? And she relays all of that via two-way radio to Tom down at the far end. Now watch the far lane, Jay Payne. He moves about 200ths quicker than Conway. Conway is behind. Payne, another one of his patented wheel stands. It settles down right off the end of the concrete pad. At this point, it depends on who has got the top end power. Who's got the big muscle? Whoa, boy. That's alcohol drag racing. And here's a pair I have been looking forward to. Blaine Johnson versus Chuck Barrett. And you heard Chuck Barrett over the far lane say earlier, well, one of us will take care of Conway. Well, not if he doesn't do a better burnout than that. In fact, that burnout was just about non-existent. No smoke off the tires whatsoever, but on this hot racetrack, man, may not hurt him all that bad. Right now, let's go down to Brock with Tom Conway.
Well, Tommy had a good lead on you. He ran right around him with a 91 to a 94, so showing some good power here, but you were a little late.
Yeah, I was concerned about a couple things. I had a little problem in there, and it kind of threw me off the track there. We'll have to do better next round.
You were, we were talking a little bit earlier about the conditions. They seem to have stabilized, though, right now, and I wouldn't imagine you're going to get a whole lot of differential in the weather before you go again.
No, they're pretty good. I think you'll see almost identical conditions in the finals.
What do you think, what are you looking for to win this thing?
Run a little faster than Blaine.
Well, 91 do it?
No, 91 won't do it.
Okay.
He has a way of cutting right through it, doesn't he? And he's right, an awful lot of things happen in those cars when you're pre-staged trying to hold back 2,500 horsepower with the RPMs up. A lot of things we'll never know that go on in those machines that can cause a man to maybe not cut the kind of light he would like. All right, Chuck Barrett over the far side. He's ready. So is Blaine Johnson, getting a final word from his brother Alan Johnson. It's now in the hands of the two gentlemen in the cockpits. This could be a good one. Oh, and Barrett, red light. Chuck Barrett has left too soon. He knows it. He shuts it off. Whoa, ho, ho. Blaine Johnson, 5.80 at 238 miles an hour, even though he smoked the tires a little bit. Frank?
I got to say, you guys are impressive. Low ET, you got lane choice by a lot in the final. You got to feel great.
Oh, we're feeling really good. We've had a tough year, and it seems to be coming together a little bit right now, and I hope we can keep it up.
Okay, the pairings for the Top Alcohol Dragster final round will look like this. Blaine Johnson against Tom Conway. Conway knew a 590 wouldn't be enough. Blaine Johnson sizzles the scoreboards with a 580.
He didn't even try that hard. He had a red light.
Yeah, I guess he was trying, but it's been an ongoing duel between me and him lately, and since going since Indy last year, finally got around him.
With an 80, Blaine, is that?
Yeah. That's very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Especially with Conway's 91.
Yeah, Conway, I wouldn't count him out. He's a tough competitor, but Alan's got this thing running like a clock this weekend. I'm just totally impressed by the way he's got this thing running.
You're going to let it sit right there? I wouldn't imagine you're going to want to step it up a whole lot from there.
No, it all depends on what the track's going to do. I don't think we'll try to step it up. I think if the track's better, it'll step itself up.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Let's get back to alcohol racing, this time with the bodies on board and the engines in front of the drivers. It will be Jeff Rapp from New Jersey and Terry Mullins from Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
That is the body coming down on Terry Mullins' Top Alcohol funny car. In the background, Rapp's crew firing that engine up. As they come to a line, it's going to be Mullins with a lane choice, a 607 to a 613. And remember, Pat Austin told us, Steve, that one of these lanes got a pretty decent bump in them, and it does not help these guys at all because they're trying to find shift points in these cars, and if you're airborne, it makes it real tough.
And the lane he was talking about was the far side, which is no doubt why Terry Mullins, who has lane choice, is on the near side of the racetrack. In fact, they have lane choice right up to the time the cars start. And occasionally you'll see a driver just all of a sudden tell his mechanic, I don't want this lane. And he can do that. Once they're started, hey, you're stuck with whatever you told the officials you were going to run. But until those engines light off, you've got what they call lane choice.
And that is based purely on low elapsed time of the last round. And in this particular case, Terry Mullins has it, and by a good margin.
It wasn't too many years ago when they flipped coins for the lanes. And some guy, maybe there'd be a bad lane, and some unlucky guy didn't have a lucky hat like Chuck Berry. It just flipped flip after flip. And this obviously is a far better system. All right, Terry Mullins, he takes his alcohol racing seriously. So, of course, this Jeff Rapp in the Carter Resources car. A New Jersey driver, a Texas crew. I wonder if they can even communicate.
Well, I think that old Jeff talks strictly through his right foot because he makes that car work pretty well.
He sure does. Okay, let's listen to these cars. Boy, I'll tell you, they are a handful. Start. It is Jeff Rapp at 6:05, 233 miles an hour. Both drivers were right on time with 4-4 lights. Terrific drag race. Rapp will go into the final round. Frank is with his crew chief.
Another final round. You got to be pleased.
Yeah, we're really pleased. Jeff's doing a wonderful job driving, and it's just, we're really pleased.
So Mark Lira wrenches Jeff Rapp into his second final consecutively, and he won the last one. He's going for 2 straight. Next up will be Pat Austin versus Randy Anderson, and that should be a heck of a good race as well. There is Father Walt Austin walking out to have a look at the starting line and to direct Pat in the burnout procedure. And it can be very important, especially with the shorter wheelbase funny cars, to get that good burnout. And look at that monster supercharger and kind of a half of an injector offset to the right side. That is a fuel system unlike you will see on any other car. All right, good, strong, smoky burnouts from both drivers. Here's Brock.
Well, Jeff, into the finals with an 05.
Yeah, it feels great.
A pretty good race.
Yeah, I don't know what Terry ran, but I knew he was alongside of me all the way down. I could hear his motor.
You think, are you going to set on an 05, or do you think you're going to have to go a little bit harder?
We'll have to see what they run, but I'll tell you, we can beat ourselves here real easy, so we want to be careful.
Yeah, this racetrack can bite you.
Yeah, we had a real good pass, nice and smooth. Everything was right. I shifted it right, so we're in good shape.
Good deal. We'll see you in the finals.
Thanks a lot.
All right, a happy guy, and well, he should be. What a month this has been on the NHRA Championship Trail for one Jeff Rapp. Okay, whoa, and there the camera takes you right under the Jolly Rancher Candy's car. Randy Anderson up against Pat Austin. These are two of the very best alcohol funny cars in the world side by side.
And two fine young drivers. However, by his own admission, Randy Anderson can have a case of brain fade every once in a while on the lights. And on the other hand, Pat Austin is nearly perfect. So Randy's going to have to be really on his toes to get by Pat.
Randy's dad and car owner Brad has been very hard on him, saying if you don't get your reaction times right, I'm going to send you to Frank Hawley's school. Just embarrass you. Let's watch. It's a good one. It's a great one. Oh, and Pat Austin has just enough. Listen to this. Randy Anderson cuts almost a perfect light, a 4-1. Pat Austin matches him with a 4-1, but with a 6:08 to a 6:17 elapsed time. Frank's with the Patriarch. Walt.
It's been a tough way to the final today, but you're there.
Well, we're here, and it's been kind of a battle to get here, but we're looking forward to the opportunity to win this race.
President of the Men of Few Words Department is Walt Austin. A lot of members in that club here today for old Frank Hawley. Look at this. Both of them cut gorgeous reaction times. The best we've seen all day in any category. 4-1 to a 4-1. And here's why you want lane choice. Watch the car in the far lane. Randy Anderson right there. He hits those bumps as he's trying to shift that Pat Austin talked about earlier. And that had a lot to do with him losing this race. Austin 6:08, Anderson 6:17, both 230 miles an hour. All right, the pairings for the Alcohol Dragster Final. You've been watching, you know it's Jeff Rapp against Pat Austin, and Rapp will have the lane choice. How about that? All right, let's go to Brock with Pat Austin down at the far end.
You guys had almost a perfect lead, both of you, and you ran an 08. So Jeff squeezes in on lane choice.
Yeah, that was important for the final. I wish we would have got that, but as far as I'm concerned, those are the two most, the ones that the last three cars that are in the finals here. I mean, us, Jeff, and Anderson's are the most powerful cars in the country, and I'm just glad to be part of them.
Do you see much difference in the lanes down there right now, presuming we don't get any oil downs or anything like that?
The traction-wise, no, but the bumps in the right lane seem to give us a little problem. But, we'll put some shock absorbers on the Castrol, Dynomax, Red Wing shoes, those will be, and see if we can get down through there first. Not a lot of shaking going on that time. If we can keep the shaking away, we'll be all right.
Good deal. Good luck.
Thank you.
Just a little bit of a joke there. There are no shock absorbers on alcohol funny cars. Maybe today you need one.
Repeated here. Super stock goes to Charlie Taylor. The stock category winner is George Whittick. Super Comp, Greg Roberts, the winner in that category. Super Gas victory, that goes to Mike Green. In the ever-popular junior dragster category, young Hunter Grissom wins that one.
And in a few moments, we will know who to add to that slate as the winner of Competition Eliminator. Craig Liberty up against Bob Kaiser. There's that little four-banger Pontiac. Might seem like a simple little engine until you get inside it or take a look at the fuel injectors or all the stuff that they've developed along with General Motors to make that a competitive car, an M altered. Kaiser with the V6 and the D Economy altered. Economy really means that you can only have one little four-barrel carburetor and an automatic-style transmission without a lot of the tricks. It does save a few bucks, but these are still pretty pricey automobiles. Woo, and Kaiser just cost himself a ton of money with a red light. Craig Liberty, let's see if he can beat him anyway. Liberty backed up, or he might have beat him twice there. Liberty is the champ. At 827, 146 miles an hour, that's 47 hundredths under the index. 45 hundredths under was Kaiser, but he gave it away right here. Watch that last yellow. Gotcha. Let's go to Brock with Craig Liberty.
Well, as Craig gets his helmet unloosed here, I'm sure he's pleased. Made it a little easier than you thought when Kaiser red lighted, but nonetheless, 200 cubic inches was all you needed.
Yeah, we were really putting out some good power with our Pontiac this weekend. It's working real good for us. All the pieces kind of came together just for first round. Didn't do so good in qualifying, but
That's just getting into the field, and a 32-car field is important, and then just work your way through it. No real problems all the way, though, right?
No, not really. Had a couple red lights helps out quite a bit, but I think we could have outpowered just about everyone here.
Yeah, I'm sure you were going into the final round and being careful of that light. You got it really, and everybody tries to squeeze it, but it takes real discipline in the finals, doesn't it?
Actually, I think I had a pretty good light, if not red myself. I really don't know. I tried for a light.
Well, congratulations, Craig. Great work.
Thank you.
Well, Brock, you can tell Craig he got that light. He was only 200ths away from a perfect one. A good job, and a good light may make the difference here. Jeff Rapp and Pat Austin. That's a nice way to begin the finals with side-by-side smoky burnouts. Brock, the fans love them.
They sure do, and these cars both capable of winning. There's no real favorite here, as we've seen Pat Austin have a few problems in the course of the day, but he's in the finals, and of course we saw Jeff Rapp win at Atlanta just a short time ago, so we know he can do it as well.
Absolutely. I don't know anyone, any knowledgeable fan here or competitor that would pick one from the other here. They're just that closely matched. Both drivers have done a great job all day. The mechanics have done a super job. The track right now is probably more equal than it has been. If there's a disadvantage, it might be for Pat Austin, even psychologically. He doesn't like those little bumps over in that far lane, and he's complained about that every single round. So if he can put that out of his head, and some people will tell you you can kind of drive around those a little bit if you can make the right move. But we did notice in the Final Four that Randy Anderson, when he got into that part of the racetrack, it upset the balance of that car, and he really had to dirt track it out of there.
Well, you heard Pat say he was really disappointed that he did not get lane choice in the Final Four. And so Jeff Rapp definitely feeling, I would imagine, a little more confidence because he does have the good lane.
I agree with you. I think that's a big ace in the hole for Jeff Rapp. Let's watch. Oh, boy, what a final. They'll be talking about that one for a long time. Pat Austin was off the mark first, but Jeff Rapp won it at 6:06 to a 6:09. Watch Austin's car move first. Now, we see the car really do some weird things in that lane, but it goes straight, so it may not have hurt Austin's elapsed time all that badly. Right about here, as he shifts the gear and gets in those little bumps. All right, coming up right here. You might even see a little wisp of smoke off the tire. Yep, right there, so it did get a bit loose, and that might have been enough to cost him the win. Jeff Rapp, he's the champ.
All right. Is that about what you think you could do it with an 06?
Steve just said we wanted to go back out and do what we'd just done, and we did. We put Pat in the opposite lane to maybe upset him a little bit. We don't know, but it was just a guess.
Well, he told me that that lane bothered him a little bit. There was a little bump in there, and he had some problems shifting, so it might have been a good idea.
Well, we had a real bad spike on the computer on the last run, and we didn't want to take a chance that it might upset the car, and the left lane is a little smoother, so we ran the left lane, and everything worked out great.
We're perfect, yeah. Congratulations. Great job.
Very much. Appreciate it.
That is Blaine Johnson right there. Those gunfighters' eyes. He's total concentration, looking for a victory here at Memphis against one of the best guys in the business, and that is Tom Conway, Steve Evans.
Well, Conway called this winning weather earlier on in the show. In fact, after the second round, we'll just see if that prophecy can come true. I'll tell you, though, Blaine Johnson stunned Conway with that 580 in the previous round. Low elapsed time in the entire 4 days of the Goodys Sports Nationals. That really got Conway's attention. So you can bet that he took that big Hemi apart, probably freshened up the pistons and the rings, everything he could do to make more cylinder pressure, which in these cars translates into horsepower. Maybe drive that blower a little harder, maybe slap on a set of new tires, who's to say? They don't take the maintenance that nitro cars do, but still, when you're in top, and I'm telling you now, Conway's in top. There's no question about that. He doesn't have a lane choice. And that big Whipple Charger singing away about a foot off the top of the roll bar on Blaine Johnson's car. I do like Johnson here. I wouldn't pick one in the alcohol funny car deal, but I think Johnson looks pretty good.
Well, I also wonder whether or not the bumps are going to bother Conway over there. You know, they certainly bothered Pat Austin. So it'll be interesting to see. These longer wheelbase dragsters are not as affected by bumps, of course, as the shorter wheelbase funny cars, but nonetheless, those are pretty severe bumps, and who's to know if that could be just the slightest little difference that could turn the tables for Johnson. And as you say, Johnson's already shown enormous power here in that last pass.
The final two cars of the Goodys Sports Nationals. Will it be Johnson or Conway? It is Blaine Johnson by a clean car length. And you want to know why? He ran a 581 to a 589, 237, a huge speed for that car at 234. But there's another reason as well. Under all this pressure, Blaine Johnson in the near lane, how about a 4.0 light? 4.0. Conway wasn't far behind at a 4.3. But Johnson had it all. The reaction time, the elapsed time, and 3 miles an hour of sheer muscle on the other end. As I said, 237 to 234. Well, I tell you, the alcohol racing has been spectacular today and very, very interesting with all of the variables involved.
So to cap a great day for Blaine Johnson, 581. Congratulations.
Beautiful. It's been a long time coming. We haven't won a final since Seattle last year. We've just been struggling.
Well, you kind of go in cycles of 6. This is as long as you've gone, I think. So you were on the ragged edge of your cycle of 6 victories, between 6 victories, and you did it. So congratulations.
That's it. Thanks. And we just need another 4 more. We'll be looking good. 4 in a row.
You had great reaction time. It was a great pass. No problems. Everything worked out just about the way you hoped.
Yeah. Well, 81. That's good enough to win. Is good enough for me. So.
Congratulations, Blaine. Great race.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, but that's just the start of the climb toward defending his championship. As he said, he's got to win 4 more in a row. Our congrats to Blaine Johnson, Jeff Rapp, and Craig Liberty. For all of us here at American Sports Cavalcade, I'm Steve Evans. Thanks for joining us from Memphis.
The American Sports Cavalcade is a presentation of Diamond P Sports.